Hello everybody and welcome back. It is Jeff again, picking up right where we left off, but it's a whole new day. Just got back from the fire department and gotta say, nothing like an early morning fire to start the day off. Oh crap, which way did I come from and decide I wanted to go? There's Creeper, there's Upper Cave, Upper Cave going on here. Oh my god, scroll properly, thank you. Whoa boy. Okay. Let's just get you. Oh my god. Didn't even see you. Ran into you. Somehow was still able to take you out before you had time to get a potion out there. Which I find crazy. I'll take that glowstone. I don't need those spider eyes. So yeah, with this morning, I try to leave my fire station at 6 a.m. Between 6 and 6:30 is an ideal time for me. Technically, the shift goes until 7. I usually try to leave. Oh, God, I got a lot of coal. Let me get one more piece, and 5 more of those still. Let's finish off my torches here. And the reason why I try to leave slightly early is because of the fact that getting into DC from Maryland, because for those who don't know, I live in Washington, DC. Getting into DC from Maryland at 7 a.m. is atrocious. It's the difference with driving in back to where I live, because I do live in DC. A lot of people who say they live in DC might live in the DC metro area. They'll live in like Arlington, Montgomery County, things like that. I do a lot of stuff in Arlington and Montgomery County. Well, not as much in Arlington, but in those areas. However, I actually do live in the district, which a lot of people do not. And traffic, oh no, God. Traffic between 6 and 7 a.m., it's a world of difference. Anybody who commutes on a regular basis into a major city, you know what I'm talking about. If I leave the fire station at 6, it will take me approximately half an hour to get home. If I leave the fire station at 7, it usually takes me on average an hour and a half to get home. And I am not exaggerating. That is legitimate. It takes me that much longer to make the commute based on that hour time frame of leaving. And I mean, that's standard with the way traffic patterns work. DC is actually a very interesting area where there's so much government out here that they actually try to, I don't know if it's a regulation or if it's just like an unwritten thing. They try to do different shifts within the government. For somebody will start at 7 o'clock, somebody else starts at 8 o'clock, somebody else starts at 9 o'clock, and they do this for the sole purpose that they're trying to alleviate some of the traffic backup concerns. Because if you say, like, everybody in DC pretty much will start our shifts at 8 o'clock in the morning, nobody would ever get to work on time. It would be, oh god, I just extended this water supply. It would just be a ridiculous commute for everybody, and nobody would ever want to work in the city. I mean, it's hard enough to actually want to work in the city as it is now with the way the traffic is, but they do try to regulate things to go like that. So I try to leave at 6 o'clock. The thing is, I can't always leave at 6 o'clock because occasionally, not really occasionally, more often than I'd like, but I'm often the ambulance driver, and I'm the ambulance driver not because there's multiple ambulance drivers to choose from. The ambulance driving is one thing that we are lacking. The only reason I actually took driving, because I didn't actually want to be a driver, I only took it for the betterment of the department, thinking a lot more people would get into it at some point, but unfortunately not a lot have yet. Though they're working on that. They're actually going to run a class directly through our station, specifically because they know we are lacking drivers, and they know that people like me who are a firefighter 2 who want to be on the engine get stuck driving the ambulance often because of the fact that there's nobody else to be able to do it. This looks like that first spider spawner I came and took out from that end over there. And so luckily my crew is pretty good and they want to help out, so there's more people starting to get ready to take the classes, and we have a lot of new people who are in and passed their EMT and also have taken fire class who want to be drivers, but now they just have a waiting game. You have to be affiliated with the county for a year before they can let you start, you know, driving the apparatus and things like that. So we got some people coming up that are ready to go because they really want to be drivers as well and help out. And once we get a lot more people who are drivers, it's going to help everybody because we'll just take our turns. Like, yeah, I'll drive this week. You know, next week, you know, you can drive so I can ride the engine or whatnot. But so I started out driving yesterday, but another driver came in after she got off of work at around, you know, 8 o'clock in the evening. So she took over driving because she's not a firefighter. She just does, you know, EMT driving stuff. So she then, you know, graciously took over driving so I could jump on the engine. If I'm on the engine, I always can't leave early either, because if we have a short crew day and I'm the only one in the back of the engine and I'm, you know, the lineman, I have to be there until 7 because you have to operate with three people who are minimum staffing, you know, your driver, your officer, and then your lineman to be a minimum staffing. And I've actually been on the engine a few times where it was either just the 3 of us or it was 4 or 5 of us, but the other 2 people weren't officially qualified to be linemen yet. So, you know, that gets me, so I have to stay. And I don't mind staying when it's because I absolutely have to stay, because I'm actually making it so an apparatus can get out the door. It annoys me in the morning when I have to commute home, but I mean, hey, that's part of the job. I only leave early when there's somebody to cover me. My shift officer knows, and he's okay with me doing that because he understands the issues with the commute. And very often the engine does not get calls in the morning. Well, today was a slightly different story. I was literally at 5:58. I was sitting in front of the computer. I had already pulled all my stuff off of the engine. I was ready to log out of the system and start going home. And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there at the computer about to log in, or about to get ready to click the button to get out of there. And it was like, boop, 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 which is our pre-alert tones. And by the way, thank you somebody for, again, reminding me about the water spread that I can do here. Crap, 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 crap. Are you stuck? You look kind of stuck, which is weird. I'm going to still touch this thing just for fun. Damn it. I was hoping maybe some random update screwed up the game and they let you silk touch these things. Get away. Yes. So the tones, you know, boop, 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 boop. Those are the pre-alert tones. We have pre-alert tones that go out for working or possible working fires. And I heard that and I instantly looked to see if it was something that we were due on, because I was sitting right next to the computer that has the dispatches. And I was like, oh my God, that's an area that we're going to respond to. So I ran out and grabbed all my gear real quick. And I was like, screw it. I'll take the long commute home if, you know, knowing I'm going to a fire. So I went out and joined on the fire ground for, you know, another hour. It actually turned, it was actually a working fire, but it was a very easily manageable working fire. So we were only there for like half an hour, and I still actually made it out the door by 6:45. I was on my way back home, so I'm okay with that. But that's how that works. Like minimum staffing, I have to stay. If I'm not minimum staffing, like somebody else can be there to be the lineman or the ambulance driver or whatnot, then I can, you know, take off early. Like last week was different. I was the ambulance driver. Somebody was actually coming in to be able to drive the ambulance for me at like, they're coming in at 3 o'clock in the morning. They have one of those weird shift work things that they do. So she came in at 3 o'clock in the morning. Where are you, little guy? She came in at 3 o'clock in the morning, but by then it was actually a full week. The engine was full, and I think we had a call. Where are you? We had a call that went out at 5:30 a.m. and I was like, yeah, screw it. I'll go with the ambulance crew and, you know, do this anyway. And it turned out to be a really long call, and I didn't get out of there until after 7. But whatever. What are you gonna do? I enjoy going on calls. It's funny because it's unpredictable, but I don't like it when I'm sitting there aimlessly waiting in case there's a call, and then there turns out not to be a call, and then I have like an hour and a half commute home. Granted, you can never judge that. It's all part of the job duty. I am not complaining about that, so I don't want you to take that the wrong way. It's just one of those things that I'm like, oh man, if I'm stuck in this hour and a half commute because I stayed until 7, I wish it was, or there was a reason I stayed until 7, but you're never going to know that until the shift officially ends. So, that being said, many people write me in the comments about like firefighting and things like that. They write me about a lot of other things as well as somebody who's very determined that I go to Ethos, specifically to Ethos Enderman Farm, and do an episode dedicated to enchanting. That might happen at some point, but I'm sorry, like writing the comment on multiple videos in all caps, yelling at me, telling me that's what you want me to do, is not going to make it happen anytime faster. So that just being said, yes, I do read your comments, and yes, I understand that that might be a desire of yours, and it may happen at some point in the not too distant future, but don't get your hopes up and think that continuing to spam that to me and tell me that is going to make it happen for you, because it's not. Not that I don't appreciate the comment, but just letting you know. That being said, a lot of people do write to me often and ask me questions about firefighting, which I am more than willing to answer and help out with when I can. I can't always, though. The firefighting is something that is very county/state specific in a lot of areas. My buddy and I, one of the guys that does the podcast with me, Mark, who does, the What Do We Know podcast. If you haven't heard it yet, I suggest you go to wdwkpodcast.com or youtube.com/wdwkpodcast, that we put them up on both areas, including iTunes. So go check out the podcast. Like, it's just me and some buddies from high school talking like we used to talk. Like we're sitting at the bar together, even though we're from across the country. But me and Mark, or Mark and I, excuse me, I should use proper grammar. Mark and I used to actually talk about being volunteer firefighters together. We are going to try to find a way to do it where we, both lived in, the area that we knew each other in Michigan. And Michigan is a completely different system for the volunteer firefighting system. It's not necessarily so there's career, there's volunteer, there's paid on call. There's all these different areas in the way that places do things. Michigan more is a paid on call area, from what I understand. We couldn't figure out how to break into it in Michigan. I still to this day don't know where the Fire Rescue Training Academy in the Flint area is. I've never seen it before. I'm sure it's somewhere. I'm sure I've passed it many times and just never knew. But I don't know how to break into it in an area like Flint. Montgomery County, where I'm actually a volunteer firefighter at, makes it extremely easy because they have a huge volunteer section of the fire rescue service there. So it makes it much easier to get into classes, to get affiliated with volunteer FRDs. And so people sometimes ask me, like, hey, how do I break into it? How do I get into firefighting in this area? It's always been something I'm interested in. I'm not exactly sure what to tell you, except for start checking, like, just look up, Google search, like, volunteers in your area and see if it leads you to a public service training academy website and talks about, like, volunteer organizations around. Or if you pass a fire station that has volunteer written on it, stop in there and ask them. Stop in there and talk to them. That's a suggestion of mine. Keep in mind, there's many other... I think volunteering is a great thing. I've been a volunteer ski patroller since I was 16 years old. My father... Oh, crap. I left my water over here because I wanted to weigh out. And I need it now. My father was a National Ski Patrol member. He actually started doing it in the first place, thinking it wouldn't be that big of a deal. And my dad didn't know anything about first aid or anything either. He's a police officer who knew very, very, very basic, CPR skills, first aid for what he had to do on the job, but he is not in the medical field by any means. My sister and I were skiers when we were young, and it was a very expensive hobby, and he was like, hey, this is a way that I could get passes for my family. And that's what a lot of people break into the ski patrol, or start to get into the ski patrol, thinking that they really won't have to do much. It's just they'll get to ski for free, and that's pretty much it. It's a lot of volunteering hours. It's a significant amount of volunteering hours, especially depending on your area, the way that they run things out there, and where you're at. So he realized the commitment and was like, you know what? That's fine. I'm okay with the commitment. It's something that I think would be enjoyable, serve the community a little bit more. And he's been on the patrol now for over 25 years? 20, it must be 23 years. No, 27. Holy crap, 27 years. The reason I know that is because I have personally been on it for, I think, officially 17 years, and he's exactly 10 years before me is when he joined. I joined 10 years later, and then my mother joined 10 years after me. So it's funny that the three of us do it as like this family thing now, which is great, but I joined because my dad did. I saw what he did. I saw the friendships he made. I saw the enjoyment he got out of helping out and doing the first aid and things like that. So I joined because of that reason, and he made sure I knew multiple times, like, Jeff, you don't have to do something like this. If you don't feel like because I do this that you should. And I said, no, Dad, I want to. And he was like, great. So he like helped me as much as he could get through, the training and all that stuff. Like, I was 16 years old. I was a relatively immature 16-year-old kid. So he helped me a lot. He's probably the only reason I actually made it through back then. I've talked about my maturity level and stuff before, that I was kind of a late bloomer when it came to maturity. But that being the case, what I was bringing that up for was, there's other things out there that if you can't find a way to get into the firefighting or EMS or something like that, there's other options that you can look at if you really do want to do some volunteering activities on a regular basis. I mean, you can always go volunteer at soup kitchens, this, that, the other. Those are great organizations to go help out as well, too. But, National Ski Patrol's a big one out there that you could always look into, jump into if you're in an area where there's a ski hill. And the nice thing about that is I can't say it's only in the winter because we do training and stuff in the summer, but your commitment is during the winter. A lot of people get very depressed in the winter because they're not outside nearly as much. They don't get anywhere. They don't get sunshine. They don't get exercise. It forces you to be outside a lot more than you normally would. Granted, it's cold, but you're enjoying yourself on the ski hill, as well as, taking care of injured people and things like that. But it helps keep you going in a season where other people are often getting, sad and depressed. And when it comes to winter time being over, you have a lot more free time with it. One thing I struggled with when joining I joined the fire department in the first place when I moved out here for the basis that I'd been a ski patroller for so long. I kind of didn't know what to do without that extra volunteering thing that I did. So I was like, let me look into the fire departments out here. Well, I saw that they came to a job fair that I helped set up as a student council representative at my college. They came to a job fair, and I met them there, and I was like, looked into it a lot. And the training to be an active member in a volunteer fire department, it's relatively extensive, and the commitment's a lot more because it's a year-round gig, and you are just required to actually sleep somewhere because and not all of them are like that, but on my particular one, you're required to be there for 12 to 14 hour standby shifts once a week. Or, working out with your work schedule based on your crew and your officer and things like that. So it's a relatively big commitment. So it took me a little bit to make sure that felt like I could be up to the task. But volunteering, it's a great thing. And if you really want to look into it, but can't get into the fire service like I talk about, there's multiple options out there, and multiple options branching out even farther than the ski patrol. Those are just the two that I am intimately familiar with because of the fact that I've been, doing both of them. Ski patrol for coming up on 17 years now, the fire service for coming up on 5 years now. And if I move back to Michigan, I might look into some of their, volunteer or paid on-call fire departments, but I might more stick with the ski patrol and just get more heavily into the ski patrol if I move back to, where I used to live in Michigan. But if I move somewhere else, I don't know. I'd look at what they have to offer. One thing, I went to Iceland with Julia a couple years ago for a trip, and we had a lot of fun out there. And on one of the tours, they were talking about the fact that everybody in Iceland, I guess, is required to join one of their volunteer services. And I mean, obviously it's a different country and things are set up in a completely different way, but they're required to join some of the volunteer services to help out with in case there's like massive, national issues that need to go. But they have cool things like the mountain search and rescue. If they get word that there's like a lost hiker, there's a whole group of people that are specifically trained. And one of the things they can do to volunteer is you're trained in the mountain search and rescue. Like, boom, you're called up kind of like it's the National Guard. And it's now your time to shine. And there's some other ones that have to do with the water. I don't know if there's any that have to do with volcanoes per se. I say that and it sounds really weird because it's just a random thing to say. But I'm not sure. There's a lot of different things. And I thought it'd be really cool if I moved to Iceland to do something even more exciting like that. But that's because I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie. I mean, you know, I'm trying to get to be, you know, in the flight nursing stuff. I want to ride a helicopter. I think that would be freaking awesome way to deliver healthcare in a helicopter. And that's just the way that I do things, though. But I don't know. I just came off of a fire in the morning from the fire station, and what came to my mind today to discuss with you guys while I did some extra caving was the fact that, like, the volunteer services, you really should look into it. And now from what I'm understanding from is, like, the schools to graduate high school now, you're required, I guess, a ridiculous amount of, like, volunteer hours and things like that, which you were not when I went to high school. The only reason you were ever required to get a bunch of hours for volunteering is if you were part of the National Honor Society, which I was, and the Ski Patrol actually I was able to use those hours for the National Honor Society. But I guess now it's like, at one point they required hundreds of hours, and now it's down to like 30 to 60 because they've realized that it's a little bit much to ask of high school students to put in that much of volunteer time while still maintaining grades and, you know, things like that. So I'm not sure what it is anymore, exact number of hours, but I guess out here they do require a lot of random hours. A lot of people do volunteering at like hospitals and in emergency departments and things like that. And so no matter how old you are, you can always serve your community in a great way and just become a little bit more well-rounded in your community, a little bit more helping out and just fulfilling a piece of yourself. Like, that's a lot of the reason I do it is, you know, there's selfish reasons involved. It fulfills something in me that I want to do. So that does kind of make it selfish. The Ski Patrol is a little bit even more selfish because it allows me to ski for free. Granted, I don't have to be part of the patrol to do that because my father is and can get passes for me whenever I want because of him doing it. So it's not as selfish that I'm on that committee or on the patrol, but it is, you know, still some could consider it, you know, oh, you're doing it so you can get free passes. Well, yeah, that's definitely part of it. But there's a lot more to it than that as well. So as this cave continues to get more and more massive, and I hear lava that I'm afraid I'm going to break into. And this episode continues to progress. And I apologize if you don't like the early morning episodes, but when I do night shift, because I ramble a lot during them. I do ramble a lot during a normal episode, but during these early morning ones, I ramble a significant amount. So I apologize if it sounds like uneducated or whatnot. Look at that. I almost missed it. You guys probably would have been so mad. I'm going to let you dance while I sit here and harvest this diamond. Actually, I'm going to throw some stuff at you as well. I don't know if I need 40 string. I definitely don't need 7 random smooth stone. I just, like, completely changed my aspect ratio of this. I hope I didn't screw anything up because I moved part of the screen on accident. 1. Hey, why'd you pick up the wrong thing? Thank you. Give me that. 1 diamond, 2 diamond. Oh, good lord. Oh, I love you. Oh, I love you so much. There's even more. It won't take long to break. I know I'm underwater and doing that. Ugh. 6 diamond vein. Let's make sure there was no more hidden around here. Okay, we're going to end the episode on that happy note as I watch another zombie make his way into my face. I will block this off to ensure, or myself off to ensure that I do not die a horrible, horrible death right when I log back in because I'm not paying any attention. So we will do that, and I will see you guys next time.